Features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning, good morning. It's very dark out here in the northeast corner of the world's most magnificent country. You are watching Safari Live.
Ready.
Standing by.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Works out at somewhere around 70 degrees Fahrenheit. My name is James Henry. VM is on camera today. There we are. That's VM's extraordinarily long thumb. And you, of course, are the most important part of what we do out here, so please do talk to us. Hashtag Safari Live is how you get hold of us. Taylor is out on the other vehicle. There will be no bushwalk this morning. Unfortunately, Craig, our cameraman, we think has come down with tick bite fever. That, of course, is surprising, given that he is Batman, and so we're all rather confused as to how the virus or the bacteria that form tick bite fever have got into his body. So we'll have to find out during the course of the morning and perhaps later today when he goes to the doctor.
No,
that is
not actually a superhero.
Really?
He's just a very rich person that got cool toys.
Right. I don't know if you heard VM there. He said Batman is not in fact a superhero. He's just a very rich person with cool toys. Very good point. Okay, good. Let's go and look for some wildlife. I think perhaps, as Taylor was saying to you earlier, in the pre-show, if you happen to be watching the pre-show of the show, we are all on the hunt for lions. They were calling around here yesterday. Styx Pride off to the west and Kahuma Pride off to the north. With any luck, we'll come across some of them. And in fact, the Torchwood Pride wasn't far from here either yesterday evening. Maybe we will meet them for the first time today. My plan is to go to the northern boundary and then sort of head, at least northern boundary, and then head down the western side and see what we can pick up there. And then we'll probably head towards the northern boundary and see what's going on that side as well. So, an exciting morning. It is very dark still. There's very little in the way of light. We've got thick cloud cover, but a little bit of it breaking up on the eastern horizon, which we will try to show you when we get to a point where you can actually see the horizon. We're also hoping for a return, of course, of the royal family. If we are very lucky, they will be back too. Right, Taylor McCurdy would now like to say an official hello as opposed to a pre-show hello, and so I'm going to send you over to her now.
Good morning, everybody, and of course welcome again to Safari Live. My name is Taylor, and on camera with me today is David with his gloves, keeping his fingers nice and warm. Are they cut off? So they don't really, but they keep your palms warm, so they're palm warmers. They're not proper gloves. But you can't wear normal gloves though, David. No, not to operate this, not to take photos, not to do any of those things. So David's got the half cut off finger gloves today, but I hope that Craig makes a speedy recovery and the doctor tends to him and sorts him out today. It's never nice being sick, and it's never nice having tick bite fever, if that is what he has. It does sound like it though. Now remember, this is a live safari in case you've just joined us and you're unsure as to what Safari Live is all about. It's myself and James today, driving about looking for all these wonderful animals. And if you have any questions for us, you're more than welcome to ask them by hashtagging Safari Live on Twitter. That is the only way to get hold of us. Woo! A couple of bumps over there. And well, if you watch the pre-drive that we did just a couple of minutes ago, I was telling you about the lions that we could hear, and I'm still also following up on there's much elephant dung and footprints happening at the moment, and it seems to be getting fresher and fresher. So I don't know who we're going to find first, either an elephant or perhaps a lion, which would be great. Going to be quite nice. So we saw a couple of the Birminghams. Well, I could only identify one of them as Nana. The other one I wasn't too sure. He was laying flat on his back and I didn't really get a good look at his face while he was with the Styx Pride. So we'll see who's making all of the noise in just a little bit. But if you don't know who the Styx Pride is and all this is sounding a bit strange to you, well, the Styx Pride consists of 3 female lions, and at the moment they've got 4 cubs. However, we haven't seen the 2 new set that were born at the end of February. They're still a little bit too young to be viewed. I also don't know where their den is. I think it's somewhere on between sort of Shelley's, Hoffman's, Little Gowrie, somewhere on the smaller properties in that corner. But we did see the other female with the older cubs that I think are about 3 or 4 months old now, maybe a little bit less than that. I've forgotten when they were born, but they don't look particularly big. So that's who they are, and we haven't been seeing them for a while. They're not our most prominent pride, but it would be nice to see them again. They are a lovely group of lions, of course. Now, Jamie, since we've been speaking about lions, you're wondering how many lion prides are in the area. My goodness, it's actually quite difficult to say because we're constantly having new lions coming into these particular areas. But the areas that Wild Earth or we can traverse on, we see the Styx Pride, and then the main pride that we see is the Nkuhuma Pride, which consists of 5 adult lionesses and 6 cubs. And then, of course, we occasionally see the Tsalalas, which is 2 adult females, 1 without a tail, and then 3 young boys that are accompanying them. Who else do we see? We see then the Birmingham boys. They're around in this area too. Sometimes we see the Matimbas, which are another coalition of males. The Torchwood Pride we could see on Cheetah Plains, but we don't see them very often. So yeah, so there's a couple of different lion prides and lions that we see. There are definitely many more throughout the entire Sabi Sand and of course throughout the entire Greater Kruger area. Right, so we're going to keep searching. We're just coming up to Twin Dams now. Hopefully we're going to get lucky. This is also the favorite spot of the royal family, who is our favorite leopards, mom and 2 cubs, who have been absent for a while. But we're going to keep on searching, hopefully for some sort of big cat. And I'm going to send you across to James now to see how his Impala Plain search is going.
My search is going well. Okay, I suppose it is difficult tracking in this sort of, well, it's difficult tracking at the best of times, but it's very difficult tracking when there is no light at all. I'm going to turn, I think, no I'm not, I'm going to keep going straight here. We're going to go into the clearings, check all the clearings first, and then make a plan once we can actually see what's going on around here. Hello Ash, all the way from Colorado. Thank you for your question, the very first of the morning. We have mentioned that Craig or Batman has got tick bite fever. Well, that's, our diagnosis. None of us are medical doctors, of course. Ash, tick bite fever is rickettsia, basically. So it's caused by a bacterium called rickettsia that is injected into you by ticks. And unlike in the United States there, where you get Lyme's disease from ticks, thankfully we don't get anything quite as nasty. You get what we call rickettsia or tick bite fever here, which can, if left untreated, cause some fairly nasty effects. But it's very easy to treat with a course of, I think it's doxycycline, maybe tetracycline, but those antibiotics will fix the problem within sort of 2 or 3 days. So Craig should be right as rain after he's been to the doctor later today. Yeah, that's about all I can tell you about it. How it makes you feel, or why we suspect that he's got it, is that he's got swollen glands in the groin region. That's always a dead giveaway. Nasty headache, or it is a pounding headache, especially if you move your head. It's not quite migraine, but it certainly is very unpleasant. You can feel quite nauseous at times, and you definitely just get that very horrible achy body feeling, where you really don't feel like you can move at all. And then it sort of goes in waves. So we think that's what he's got. He may just have flu. But hopefully a visit to some form of relatively competent medical practitioner later today should fix that problem. And I believe Lyme's disease is substantially more unpleasant than tick bite fever. I had a girlfriend once who had Lyme's disease. She also lived in Colorado, Ash, but I don't think she got it there. She said she became a balloon from the retention of water caused by Lyme's disease. Sounded very unpleasant. Right, let's have a look over to the west there. Let's just look out over Gazankulu there. Can you see Gazankulu there, Liam? That's Bushbuck Ridge, everybody, which is a settlement, and in fact there are lights dotting the foothills of the mountains all the way, almost from the northern side to the southern side. And that just gives you an idea of how many people live on the western fringes of the Great Kruger National Park in the lee of the Drakensberg Mountains there. That's quite a pretty little picture of him. Yes, well done. I nearly said Lee, but I don't think that was the name. We've got a question about fleas, whether we get them here and do they carry plague, and that's from Tim. Thank you, Tim. As far as I'm aware, I mean, yes, we do get fleas here, absolutely. I don't know of any animals around here presently that have fleas. Certainly there are fleas in domestic animals often around here, so out in the communities there will certainly be fleas. Do they carry the bubonic plague? No, they do not carry the bubonic plague. I have yet to hear of an outbreak of the bubonic plague in South Africa. In fact, I haven't heard of one in Africa, but that might just be a lack of education on my part rather than anything else. But no, we don't have a problem with the bubonic plague out here, the Black Death, as it were. Have you ever had bubonic plague, Viam?
No, but Brian used to talk of the Black Death.
You what?
No, I don't have, but Brian used to talk of the Black Death.
Yes, quite. Brian used to talk of the Black Death. Poor old Brian. He doesn't have Black Death, though, I don't think. Right, while we continue talking about such dreadful things as the Great Fire of London, the Black Plague, fleas, and other rat-borne diseases, let's head back across to Taylor for more cheerful subjects.
I was just about to say, James, we've started off this morning sunrise safari with a bang, with all the happiness and joy that you can think of. But hopefully we shall find a cat of some sort or anything interesting really this morning to have a look at, and we'll cheer you all up if you're feeling a little bit saddened now from, well, James's chat about ticks and fleas and mites and all those delicious things. Well, delicious for oxpeckers, that is, not for us. I'm not a huge fan of eating ticks. David, do you like eating ticks? Not anymore. He used to love it. He's decided he's gone on to bananas now. So we've checked Twin Dams, and it was very, very quiet there. There was really not much but a couple of hyena tracks. So we're on Gowrie Main, going west. And I haven't picked up any lion tracks yet, so possibly the calls that we were hearing were actually a little bit further away. But I thought we would go down Twin Dams just to see by some small chance. You never know. Like I said, it's the favorite crossing point of Karula and her cubs to come through there to the lions. I haven't found their favorite crossing point. They just sort of seem to cross wherever they like, which is quite funny. But I suppose because there's so many of them, and especially with the Birminghams, they all have their own favorite routes that they like to walk, because as we've seen on a number of different occasions, they don't always stick together. So we slowly, as we follow the Birminghams, who don't seem to walk around very much, we're learning their routes. No, we're actually chatting about this topic. I think it was yesterday. The question is, let's just get rid of all those mumbly words. Now they're gone. Michael, you're wondering how long do I think the Birminghams have sort of in reign in this particular area? Well, it's a tough one, because it just depends on any other young lions that could come in, because somebody could come and snatch up their territory tomorrow. There's massive prides, there's massive coalitions that will be forming. Tristan and I were actually discussing it last night. That's what we were talking about, is how some of the lion prides in the area seem to have lots of young males forming. Now, I've forgotten completely which pride he told me. Was it the Mungen pride, maybe? He said that there are 9 one-year-old male lions in this particular pride. I think it is the Mungen pride. Now imagine if they all leave at the same time and form a coalition of 9 male lions strong. My goodness, that will be something spectacular. You know what I'm going to do? Should we, shouldn't we? Nah, let's carry on. I was going to go up Shibamo, but then I thought there's no traction, so let's just carry on with Gary Main. So, you know, Michael, it just depends. It could be a year, it could be 3 years, it could be another month, and somebody else could come in. And some lions don't necessarily have a very long reign. Look at the Salati males, for instance, that took over from the Mabokos, the very famous lions that roamed the Sabi Sands, and annihilated them. And they were only in reign for about a year before the Majingulans came in and chased them out and you know, sent them with their tails between their legs running off, you know. Goodness, it's going to be one of those mornings today. So you really just never know. I always talk about the Eastern Bank boys coming in from the Kruger, sort of around Kirkman's Camp Skakuza, pushing in. I think those are lions to watch out for. And the Charlestons, I don't know what they're doing at the moment, but when these are lions, I'm going to go through just a couple of different lions with you, just to let your brain think. They didn't really have a great takeover when they took over from the Fourways males, who took over from the Sand River males and the Kruger male, and a lion named Freddy. There's a whole lot of different males on there. They didn't have particularly long reigns. The Fourways males just walked out, they just left. But now the other day, the Charleston males were seen at Verbeni Gate, which is one of the Kruger gates, and the closest Kruger gate to where they reign is Paul Kruger, and that must be another, well, maybe 10, no, maybe even more, maybe 30 or 40 kilometers away. It's quite a distance, and that is very brave. I can see, hold on, there's something walking down the middle of the road, and it looks like it could be a lion. I think it is. Please don't be an Impala, please don't be an Impala. Yes, I think we have a lion up in front. Can you see it all the way down there? It's a bit bumpy, but we need to catch up with it. Whoop whoop, yeah. It is a lion. Fantastic. Right, so let me quickly finish this Charleston story. It's very brave of them to be walking so far away from their initial territory, because if they leave that entire area open, they're going to find themselves in a lot of trouble. And for instance, it'll be very easy for those 5 young males with not very much experience to move in, because there's just nobody home. It's a lioness too. Oh, how exciting. Let me call this on the radio. One female lion just crossing into Vuyatela off Gari Main. I think we're actually quite close to Triple M Junction. I'll give an update in a moment. She's going north. Hi, girl. I've got one female lion. She's just crossed in to Vuyatela from Gari Main, quite close to Triple M, about 100 meters from Triple M. It's, guys, look who it is. It's Amber Eyes. Hi, girl. We haven't seen you for a while. Alright, I just want to call copy taxi. I'll just Msfaga Jumbo, because she's yeah, I can see the signs on Triple M. She's calling, but she's now changed direction. She's now going east through the block. No, now she's gone the fire break, going westish. Okay, let's keep up with her. It looks like Amber Eyes. Come on, car. No. Goodness gracious, these cars give us grey hairs. Sorry, David, there's so many fallen trees here. Again, last night you saw us trying to maneuver. Are you ready, David? Over the tree we go. Right, sorry about that. Now I've lost the line. Did you see where she went? Oh, there she is. The only problem, of course, with trying to maneuver with the long grass is you literally cannot see anything. Okay, we're going to catch up with her. It does look like Amber Eyes. She looks to be in good nick. She of course has those beautiful colored eyes, not the typical yellow golden eyes that you see with most lions. Oh, it's okay, it's okay. I just drove over a tree and that gave her a bit of a fright, but we are quite a distance away from her. We're about 40 meters or so, as you can see. She's a little bit jumpy, so we'll give her a bit of room. I actually noticed this, it's quite interesting, and I don't know why they've become so jumpy, but the last time I saw the Nguhumas, and particularly Amber Eyes and the youngest Nguhuma lioness, they didn't like vehicles. So I don't know if it's because they were in the Manuleti and just not seeing any cars for such a long time that they'd become a bit nervous of them, or what the reason is, but we'll just make sure we give her plenty of room. Let me just update again. Yeah, taxi's mobile on the fire brake and parallel with Gary Main towards Triple M. We're about to pop out onto Triple M now, Fugger Jumbo. Just telling Tax to get on, move on, because what's wrong, girl? She's very unhappy, this lioness, and it's very unusual. That's very, very strange, because we're going so slowly. I'm actually still in low range, which means we can't go very fast. Let's go have a look. And she was calling, she was contact calling too, so she might be looking for her better half. Wow, that's a long question. We'll just watch her go. Like I said, we'll give her a bit of space. So, James, now you were wondering, of course, with this lioness, if she were, her and the youngest Nkuhuma were to give birth and have cubs, would it take longer for her to introduce them to the rest of the pride because of the massive age gap? I think with our little floppy-eared girl, the age gap is about 6, it will be about 6 months. James, no, not necessarily. I mean, I don't know if these lions have had cubs before. We know the youngest lioness definitely hasn't. Amber Eyes, I don't think she has. So we'll just have to really wait and see. But there shouldn't be any reason that she hides them. Of course, there's always that argument with if she brings them in too young, the other cubs, let me just catch the spider web, the other cubs may be a bit boisterous with them. So there is that. But you'll see that mom will be there at every step watching the youngsters, making sure that they don't get too rough. So I suppose it really just depends. She may try and introduce them, and if she finds that it's a bit too early, she could always take them away and hide them again. I've seen that happening before, and she's now crossed into Arathusa, I think. Yeah. Okay, we're just being called in. She's gone in here. I don't know if we're going to be able to follow her through this thicket. This is going to be quite hectic. Right, okay, let's go into Arathusa. We're just going to go back quickly. There's a road just here. We're not far from it now. Okay, I can see it. We're going to turn out. We're going to try and get another view of her. We just can't, unfortunately, follow her through there. It's a little bit too thick. Okay, here we go. Right, let's quickly go. And then hopefully we'll find a road that runs parallel back with Triple M. But James, yes, I mean, we really just will have to wait and see how everything goes, really. You never know what may happen with lions. Okay, I can see some vultures roosting, but I think that they are just roosting. I also now need to get onto the other game drive channel. We'll talk to them in a moment. Let's relocate on this lion first. Right, we're doing a bit of a Ferrari safari, of course, but I think we should get her jumping out over here. Just don't want to give her a fright coming around the corner. Remember, if you are new to watching Safari Live, it's live and interactive, of course. So send your questions through #Safari Live on Twitter if you do have any. So this is almost where she was popping out. but it's so thick. I'm just going to keep an eye out here. Where is she? Oh my goodness. Okay, so she came in through here. You see this drainage system? This is where we were, just on the other side. But she's obviously already moved through, and now we need to find her. If she's gone straight down here, we won't get her. We'll have to keep trying until we bump into her on the roads. So Alison, you were wondering about the ages of lions and when you stop calling them cubs. I would say at about 1.5 years you'd start calling them a sub-adult. I think they're big enough. Let's go down this road, maybe we get lucky here. So yeah, I would say around 1.5 years or so for lions in particular. Let me see if I can get onto the radio. I also want to just very quickly put this GPS on my phone, because I want to make sure that I call in the right roads, of course. So we need to put location on, put that on, then we got to go to maps. I'm just not 100% sure. Okay, let's see, onto Arathusa, and then hopefully I'll get some communication. So we're just waiting. Nope, we don't want that tool to come up. No, we're just waiting. Now, my phone is bizarre. Sometimes the location does not work when my phone is on airplane mode. So I'm probably going to have to turn that off. Yeah. Nope. Okay. I have no idea where we are. We'll just drive then. I have to turn that off. Airplane mode. Turn that off. And then hopefully it will pick up the location. Right. Let's see if we can find this Leon before we call it in again. But she's zigzagging around. I also don't know which way she's gone. If she's just carried on going down here, if she's decided to change her direction and move further up west. This is the other thing. The ground is very hard here. It's not very sandy tracks, so I can't see any tracks at all. This is a tricky one. This is indeed a tricky one. Now I'm starting to hear the game drive radio too. So the other guards must be waking up. Let's have a look now. I mean, we could have driven past her. She could have just laid flat in the grass. She didn't look like she was particularly in the mood this morning to be viewed. And now my mobile device is not working. Wonderful. Okay, let's go here. Now, of course, this is the fun part. Trying to relocate an animal. It's never particularly easy. Whee! Over the bumps we go. But we'll just keep driving until we happen to bump into her again. These blocks over here are a nightmare if you go through. We actually can't go in here. Just because of all the fallen trees in this drainage system. I also don't know how wet the ground is with all the rain that we have been having. There's still been a couple of cars that are getting bogged in every now and then, so we don't want to take that chance. But it is indeed exceptionally difficult in the summer months. Right. Then you're wondering if the sticks are on Arathusa. They were indeed. They were just off Magic Willie, which is one of the roads down here. I don't know if they're still there. We will go and have a look once my GPS is all up and set and working properly. But they could have moved as well, especially if they heard a lot of commotion with lions calling. They might not really want to hang around, especially with the young cubs. I doubt that they'd want to find themselves in a battle. I think we've lost this lioness, I'm sad to say. Hey David, these roads are terrible. Let's go up this power line road. This is one of the roads we actually drove last night when we were following Nana. Was up along here. Let's just go through it, see if we can pick up on this girl again. Like I said, I have no idea which direction she ended up changing in. She was zigzagging quite a bit. So I wonder if she was doing any roaring last night, trying to look for her friend, the youngest lioness. Right, so you're going to keep on searching around here, and I'm going to try and get hold of some of the guards to come and give us a hand. But it seems as though James has managed to find signal again. Let's go across and see how he's doing.
What? Are you making a joke? We're live? I wonder why I can't hear anything. Hello everybody. Sorry about that. I thought maybe there'd been a disaster in the final control. How very distressing. Could you speak to me, please? Hello? Oh, look at that. There, I've got you now. I did not have you earlier. Try again. You know what? The simplest solution, of course, is normally the correct answer. The reason I couldn't hear Megan is that I had turned down the volume. I do apologize. That is so gorgeous. Is it not gorgeous, Viam?
Yeah.
So gorgeous. Oh. Viam, why are you doing that to me? When you know that I'm not allowed to be doing what I'm doing now, why are you showing people that I'm breaking the law?
Because we exceeded the shot length and now you need to talk.
Don't you think we should have another look at it, though? Because it's very beautiful. I'll keep talking about it. Of course, read in the morning the shepherd's warning. Luckily, Viam, we are not shepherds, are we? No, we are not. And I can hear button quails calling in the background, but no big predators. Cheryl, the answer is no, we don't, basically. You say, do we see many animals during our morning drives when it's dark? And Cheryl, we don't, you know. It's actually, it's interesting how little we see, I find, when it's dark. And I'm not really, I mean, I do know why that's the case. It's the case because it's dark, it's difficult to see. And while the predators are certainly moving around, they are obviously not always where we're driving. And this is the big thing about a night drive that people often don't understand, and why, for me anyway, this time of the day is far preferable than being out in the dark. Now, although we have big lights and we can see quite a wash in front of us, you don't realize actually how little you can see, because now we can see, of course, 360 degrees around us. We can see miles into the bush, barring the areas that are blocked by trees and things. And so in the night time and in the morning when it's early, you've really got to be quite lucky to bump stuff. And the reason it's quite effective just before sunrise, of course, is that the predators move, and they often move on roads or on obvious game paths. And so that's why we see them quite often during the sort of pre-dawn or just after dusk. But otherwise, it's not easy to find stuff at night. And that's why when we go off to the Mara, we're going to be using some fairly sophisticated thermal cameras, and those thermal cameras will be hugely helpful in finding various bits and pieces during the night time. Obviously mammals largely VM, of course, because we know that the rest don't really have a heat signature. Hello Corey, I am afraid I don't know what you're talking about, but it sounds rather fascinating. You say, have I ever seen a green flash just before sunrise or sunset? I don't know what you mean, Corey. I haven't seen it, I don't think. Not that I'm sure I'd remember seeing a green flash. Could you perhaps tell me what you mean? That would be great. Thank you, Corey. If you're wondering how Corey is going to be able to tell me, well, he's going to go #Safari Live in 128 characters or less. Explain to me what a green flash is. VM, do you know what a green flash is? You don't.
No, that's the Green Lantern.
It's the Green Lantern, yes, which is different. Just look on this tree here. That one, yeah. Look at that. Remarkable. Well, for me anyway. That's a grass species that has landed in a tree. I suspect that there has been termite activity in there, which means there'll be just a little bit of soil or sufficient soil, or that the heartwood of that tree has rotted sufficiently for it to actually be able to support plant life, because it's releasing nutrients because the particles are so small, and the grass seeds have landed in there. They're not particularly healthy looking grass plant, but there it is growing. It always reminds me, of course. Oh, and there's a polyrachus ant. Well spotted, Liam. Is that what that is? Yes, it is. Polyrachus the ant. It always reminds me, when I see grass growing like that, of the grass and plants that grow through the cracks in the pavement in towns. And it reminds us of how sort of temporary, I guess, our existence on this planet is, and how nature will eventually take over wherever we happen to be. Now, I'd love to tell you, or in some way link to what Taylor's been doing, but I'm afraid because I was so stupid and I turned the radio down, I don't actually know where she is. She might have been out of Mongolia by now. I'm going to assume that she isn't. Right, I'm just listening to an update now on the Game Drive radio about the Torchwood Pride. Yeah, they're not here. And I was reading, I've told it, I like to sometimes talk about the book that I happened to be reading at the time, and I'm reading something now called Born in Africa, and it's about human origins and human evolution, and sort of the huge controversies that have resulted from the discoveries of the hominid fossils in Africa. And when I was talking about that grass plant, I was reminded how very brief our history as a species is. Of course, the world, we reckon, about 4.5 billion years old or so. And once we start using terms like billion, I really don't think we're able to truly fathom how long that is. But our human origins began probably about 5 million years ago, when our ancestors split from the common ancestor of the chimpanzee. But as modern, or anatomically modern human beings, we've only been around about 200,000 years. That is a blink of time. And so when I see grass plants and that sort of thing growing through the cracks, or mounting themselves on buildings and that sort of thing, I'm reminded of how temporary our existence on this planet has been, and indeed how fragile it is. Still, we haven't done half bad for that period. The green light. So Corey, thank you very much for that. You say that the green light is caused by a refraction of light around about, I think it was sunset, was it? You say it happens very rarely, it happens only for about a second at a time, and you get this flash of green, and it's only been photographed a few times. That's wonderful. Thank you very much for that. I shall certainly look out for Corey. I'm pretty sure I haven't seen it. There's a bird, Liam. On account of we find any leopards. Let's look at the bird. The European roller. Beautifully framed by the sky. Fragile little feet that are so strong. To be able to hold a bird on a little perch like that, where it's actually able to rest, indicates, I think, a tremendous amount of strength. Interestingly, the European roller is silent in Africa because it doesn't breed here. And I've always found that so interesting, that It's totally logical, of course, but I still find it interesting that birds that do not breed here do not sing here. Which of course tells us why it is that anyone sings, really, doesn't it, Viam?
Why you sing?
Yeah, you know, it's why rock stars sing. Seduction. Or territoriality, that's why you sing, I think. You're quite territorial.
I just growl.
You do growl and hiss like a vampire. I'm not joking, he really does hiss like a vampire. If you go anywhere near Viam's food, he bares his teeth at you. It's quite disconcerting. I'm afraid I have found no tracks of lions. We have been driving on some fairly hard ground, but I don't think that the Torchwood Pride has come across here just yet. Might be lucky later on. We'll see. Otherwise, there have been, of course, those cheetah with their little babies, and they were knocking about here a little bit earlier, or just north of us, on Biffle's Hook. Biffle's Hook was on fire yesterday. They had leopard, cheetah, wild dogs, and the Torchwood Pride of lions. So perhaps some of those will have deigned to come across the boundary and join us this side. I would like you now, please, to go across to Taylor and get an...
Sadly for us, James, we have lost Amber Eyes. She was on a move. She obviously did not want to be seen this morning. Well, very briefly, because then she made a big duck, and we haven't managed to pick up on her again. So I did just get confirmation now. The rest of the Nkuhuma Pride is on Simbambili. I don't think too far away from the boundary, so I suspect that's the way that Amber Eyes is going, and she's just trying to relocate on them again. So hopefully she finds them. But it's very strange that she was so skittish. It was quite interesting. So maybe it's a good thing that we just give her a little bit of a break. There's a number of things out here that can cause stress to animals, and like I said, we're so lucky to see these animals on a regular basis, and 99% of the time they're in great moods and they're quite happy with the vehicles. So when they are a little bit skittish like that, sometimes it's nice to actually just go, it's okay, girl, you know, don't worry, we won't view you, we'll give you a bit of a rest. And that's exactly it, so we shall leave her alone. So I'd also heard now, I just popped past and I met one of the Arathusa guides, and he was looking for Shadow and her cub, and he suspected that it was around here somewhere. She was still feeding off of that Steenbokker Dacre kill. I'm not sure which one what she managed to get that she killed on Simbambili. Just after Tristan had her the other morning, she made that kill. So there's no tracks. So what I'm thinking we might do, my goodness, I'm going to lose David one of these days with how bouncy these roads are. So I think maybe we must drive around in the western corner of Vuyatela, because there's definitely a chance that she could have crossed onto our property, because there's nothing here. So if she's not here, she's either still in Simbambili on our left, or she's maybe gone into Vuyatela, which is Djuma. So let's go have a scratch around there. Maybe we bump into a lioness walking around too. It sounds like the Styx Pride has moved on. They're not in the same spot as last night either. But it was lots of action last night, and it was good hunting weather though. It's definitely good weather for these cats to move around. Let's check down here to see if there's any tracks. No Leon tracks. Now we're back on Triple M, so the road is very bumpy here. So if it looks like I'm not sitting still, it's just because of all the corrugations on the road. Let's have a look. Well, David, at least we got to see a lion very quickly this morning. We saw our cat. Now, Breathe, you're wondering which are known to be more aggressive, male or female lions? It depends, Breathe, because if you see male lions fighting when they're perhaps chasing another coalition out of their traverse, it's unbelievable how they fight. It's actually super aggressive. But if you've ever seen a female lion defending her cub, you'll know how savage that is too. So it really does just depend on the circumstances, and also you'll find when prides do get into fights, say with the dominant males versus the pride of females, all those girls will turn on that male or those males and have a go at them. When we saw it when Brent and Brian had that most unbelievable interaction between the two Birminghams, it was Mfumo and Tinyo and the Nkuhuma pride, where there was obviously a female in Estrus, and they were both fighting for dominance as to who was going to mate with her, and the two of them started swatting away at each other, and then the girls joined in too, and they just slapped left, right and center at both of those boys. So it really does depend. I think I'm more nervous of a lioness when there's cubs around. I think that she would give you a run for your money. Big male lion, yeah, they're intimidating. I think that the girls have got a little bit more power, more oomph, I suppose. Right, we're coming to the area where Shadow was sort of last seen, and I haven't seen any tracks yet. We're just going to check here carefully, but I think we will do a couple of loops around here. Shadow likes these corners near Triple M. So you just really never know. So we're going to keep, so apologies if I don't turn back and look at you all the time. I of course don't want to lose out on a sighting like Shadow and her cub, so I want to make sure that I'm giving 110%. Oh, and as you can see, it's very bumpy, of course. 110% at not missing any tracks. Just check here. She loves it here. And wouldn't that be a fantastic day to see Shadow and her cub? I haven't seen Shadow in a long time. Doesn't look like it. Someone reversed here. Quickly have a look. No, lots of Impala tracks on the road. Interesting morning. A very interesting morning. Okay. Right, so I believe all of you are wondering if Shadow has 1 or 2 cubs. I have absolutely no idea. They have only been seeing her with 1 cub, but again, I haven't seen her. It isn't uncommon for leopards to lose cubs and only having 1 survive. Remember, it's tough for them out here. Baboons, hyenas, other leopards, lions. There are a number of different things, even big eagles. Like I said, I've seen a tawny eagle almost snatch up a leopard cub before. So it's very, very difficult to say, and we cannot speculate as to how that cub died unless somebody saw it happening. I don't think it's fair to try and decipher as to what has taken the other cub. But if the guides are seeing her and she's only with the 1 cub, it makes sense to think that the other one is not around. They're very young. They wouldn't be wandering off on their own without mom. So possibly that there is only the one left. But you never know. I've also seen it where mom sometimes loses cubs. I've seen that with lions before, where cubs have gone off wandering. We saw it with who were the wanderers again, David? Was it from the Styx pride? Or was it the Ngumas? No, it was the Styx. I think it was the Styx, if I'm not mistaken. Sure, right when I first started, there were those 2 cubs that just disappeared when there were still 8 Styx cubs. And remember, they disappeared and then they came back. They were known as the Wanderers. Oh, it was the Nkuhuma pride, not the Styx pride, the Nkuhumas. So this is where that male lion walked last night. Let's go check Buffles a cut line, I think. So the Wanderers came from the Nkuhuma pride. My mistake. I thought it was the Styx for a moment. So it's just one of those things, really. But again, we can't speculate. We can't say that the Nkuhumas ate Shadow's cub. We can't say that a baboon did it or a hyena did it or another leopard, because none of us really know. Unless you were in that sighting and you physically saw it happen, or you found the carcass and you could investigate and see you know, maybe the size of the teeth and things. It really is impossible to say. It could, if that cub is not with us anymore, it could even have just been something like a disease, a virus, a bacteria. At that young age, they're also quite vulnerable to diseases and any bacteria. They haven't built up a strong immune system just yet. So there's a number of different things that could have happened. It's just one of those things, and it is very, very sad, and it's never nice to see. So maybe it's a good thing that we didn't see something like that happen, because it can't be very pleasant at all. I know I wouldn't want to see it. It's not on the top of the list of things to see. I'd get very emotional about it, but of course we have to remember that this is nature, and this is just one of those things. It is cruel. It is, well, to us it seems cruel, but out here it's just completely normal. We're going to quickly head towards Sydney's dam, and there's a couple of gremlins around there, and just check to see if we can find some lines. So I'm going to send you across to James and see if he's still talking about the different colours of the sky.
I'm not talking about the sky. What we're going to discuss, everybody, is the different colours on that laughing dove that's just left us. Unfortunately, we also now cannot move anywhere because the signal on this vehicle is not sufficient for us to move, so we're going to have to find something interesting here. Well, there's a spider hunting wasp there. Can you see it, Vim? There we are. Well done. Yes, good. Spider hunting wasp. Quite possibly looking for baboon spiders inside the termite mound there. That is awesome. I've often tried to get a cameraman to do that. I've never succeeded. Well done, Vim. Good. Spider hunting wasp. We've got some Chloris roxburghiana, the feathered chloris grass plants there. Very pretty indeed. In fact, let me go and just quickly get up there and have a look, because from here I cannot see properly. You will notice that I've got my full jacket regalia on because it was so cold this morning. I'll bring you some chloris. And tell you what else we have here. This termite mound is a great bevy of diversity. We've got over here the guinea grass, of course, Panicum maximum. We've got the sandpaper raisin, so named because the leaves, Viam, feel like? Sandpaper? Correct, sandpaper, well done. And we also, of course, have a false marula there. That's that bush there. We've got a zebra, no, we've got a comifera up here. A myrrh tree, if you like, myrrh. Remember, of course, that the three wise men gave gifts of gold and frankincense and myrrh, made from this very tree here, the roots. We have Capparis tormentosa, the woolly caper bush, which has got some very vicious thorns on it. And we've got a Gymnosporia buxifolia. So 5 or 6 species of tree, probably 6 or 7 species of grass, and, well, I imagine a number of insecta as well. And here, are you able to see in here, Viam? And you see where I'm pointing? I just see grass. Can you see the hole there? Not. There's a little hole there that was clearly occupied by a speak-hinged tortoise at some stage. Now this myrrh plant, or comifera plant, it's got a very slight citrusy smell to it. Have a smell, everybody. And that slight citrusy smell, I think, transfers into the roots, and it's from the roots that you make very nice perfume. There's the sandpaper raisin, which feels like sandpaper. Sometimes you can get it to stick to the stubble. And of course the feathered Chloris roxburghiana. Sounds like a song the Police may have sung on stage. I'm afraid in terms of large-scale animal life, I have failed to find anything at this stage. I'm going to have to move now, and we're going to go across to Buffelshoek Dam, Megan, shall we go very quickly and see if we can make it? What did she say? Right, okay, we're going to head back to Taylor then, and I will see you hopefully at Buffelshoek Dam shortly.
We have got a massive elephant bull, which I'm going to try and get a view for. He's going to pop out. He's just over here. It is a big elephant bull. I haven't quite seen an elephant bull of his size for a very, very long time. And not necessarily tusk size, because it looks like that one is actually broken. But in terms of his body size, he is a monster. He must be a good 5.5 tons. But hopefully he'll come out for us. Both of them look like he's broken both of his tusks. Look at him. He's an old boy. He's definitely in his 50s. I reckon he's probably coming to the end of his life now. We're in the last 10-year stretch. He is huge. Hey, David? Yeah, he is really a very, very big elephant. Now, we're on the fire break, and he's moving away from the fire break. But we'll try and stick with him as long as we can. And you can see, of course, the bar is going to pop into frame every now and then. We still have our roof on because we weren't sure as to what the weather was going to do. But he is just plowing his way through all of this vegetation with absolute ease. My goodness, he must be an absolute... He's huge. He must be the maximum weight and height that an elephant can get. He's easily standing just over 4 meters tall at the shoulder. Now, I wish he would come out into the open so I could just show you how he even dwarfs trees, big trees. And he's massive. Even Daryl, that big elephant that we sometimes see, he can't even compete with this elephant bull. He's just that much bigger. And those tusks you saw, you can imagine how massive they must have been. They've both sliced off. And I'm sure that they're quite sort of sharp edges. Might be able to hear him munching and flapping his ears. Now, as we look at his tusks, I'm sure a couple of you are wondering if they will regrow. And Tracy, you've actually just asked that question. Will his tusks regrow? They will indeed, but you see, they don't grow from the tip. Is it broken, David? It does look like it is broken. Yeah, there we go. It's sliced. We haven't had the greatest view of him. He's walking through all this thick stuff. So it grows at the base. So it's like a tooth. It is a tooth. It's just a modification of a tooth. So Tracy, they're growing at the base. And if any of you have ever seen ivory, and I hope that you haven't, but sadly I have, in Zambia, we came across many elephants that were poached, and we had to remove the tusks if the poachers hadn't got away. What I'll do, Dev, is should I go back a little bit? We'll go back, and then hopefully we'll get him as he comes out this next gap, because the vegetation is starting to thin out now. So we'll just wait patiently for him, because I think this definitely could be worth it if he comes out over here. Actually, wait, David, we'll get a view. Is this a road? No, it's not a road. I thought it was a road. Oh no, don't go that way, elephant. Just turn like this. You can just sort of see him. So it's very sad, but I have seen massive ivory from an elephant that was poached, and it was so fresh. It was done that night. They caught the poachers and they confiscated the ivory from them. You will not believe the nerves that they have. I'm actually going to try and draw it for you while you look at this elephant. It's very difficult to explain, but I think if I draw it, I'll maybe do a better job. So I shall just get my notebook out and find a blank page. But, right, let's do this page over here. Just as you watch him, he's moving quite a bit. Right, let me quickly draw this elephant. I'm not going to do a very good job at drawing an elephant, but it'll just give you an idea. Big tusks. Not a very good elephant, but as you go. Okay, cool. What I want to show you is he's moving off, but we'll try and catch him again. He's not in a particular hurry. Actually, let me put it here. So Okay, it's a terrible elephant. Please don't laugh at my elephant. I don't actually want you to even see that. What I want to show you with the tusk, and I don't know why his tusks are pointing to the sky, but they are this morning. But over here, that little line, that is sort of where the tusk disappears, that we can't see anymore in the folds of skin. But in this little bit here, it's almost like a casing, and it is just nerves. And what it reminded me of was actually an octopus tentacle. So if you think of the shape of an octopus tentacle without the little suction caps, but sort of that long with a point to the tip, and then it's weird, it's quite fibrous as well, but it's just muscles and things like that, and all the nerve endings that are all in here. But it's almost, I would say, at least almost 2/3 of the tusk has actually got those nerve endings. So if that elephant had broken his tusks, I reckon another ruler's length further up than what they are at the moment, it actually would have been quite painful for him, because he would have hit the nerves. There's so much of it that we don't get to see. And it's really strange, because obviously when they need to store that ivory now and keep it for safekeeping so it doesn't get into the wrong hands, is they have to remove all those nerves, and they come out so easily. All they do is one person holds the other end, the tip of the ivory, and the other person grabs on with gloves or with their bare hands where the nerves are, and it goes, literally makes that noise, and it all pulls out. And this long, looks like an octopus tentacle, but massive, but I mean really, really, really thick. So it's quite sad to see something like that. Let me go back. Let's see if we can get another view of this Ellie. Maybe if we go down Sandy Patch. He's coming that way. Oh, here he is. Okay, so that's actually quite nice. He's changed direction again. We've just got to do it 77-point turn. Now, Feather Beautiful, you're wondering if an animal needs help, will we interfere? No. Only for a couple of reasons. Oh, great, we're going to get a view of him. We'll go wait for him on the road. If an animal is injured due to human interference, so say a snare from poachers, a gunshot wound, anything like that is an injury sustained because of us, it wouldn't be there if it wasn't for humans. There he is, look how massive he is. Then we will intervene. We'll call the vets in, and they will come and assist. Other than that, we let nature take its course. If this bull was fighting and he got a stab wound from another elephant bull, we wouldn't intervene. We'd let nature just take its course. Now, he's really a beautiful elephant. Like I said, I think he's well past the prime of his life now. He is massive. Look at the size of his trunk. Look how thick that is. I mean, I think his trunk is probably, I don't even know how to describe it. David, I reckon almost the width of your body. So he's that big. Let's go forward. We'll catch him again. And he's not in must, which is really nice for a change, because all the bulls that we keep seeing all the younger bulls are in must at the moment. And this chap, he's not. Whether he's still mating with the females, I'm not sure. But he's got so much experience on his side, I'm pretty certain that he could give a hiding to some younger elephant bulls, even an elephant bull the size of Daryl. And he's got decent size ivory on him too. We're going to catch him now. He's going to walk right here. But I don't want to get too close to him. I'm going to just sit here. Just see how he is. Let me go forward a little bit again. Hi, boy. He's smelling us very subtly. See how he's curled his trunk? He's just picking up on our scent. Hello, big boy. Still doing it. And very typical behavior. He is an absolute monster. This is a big elephant. Okay, what we're going to do now, David, let's do a screenshot. As this elephant walks out onto the road, take a screenshot. You're going to see he's going to come into view with a guarri bush that's on the right, and I'll go stand next to that guarri bush. So take a screenshot, and I'll show you how big this elephant is. Look at him. He's almost as the height of that guarri bush, and that's a big one. So take a screenshot, and then once he moves away, I know some of you are very talented at Photoshop and all those things. I'll go and stand there, and then maybe someone can do a size comparison just to show you exactly how big he really is. Look at him. Oh my goodness. And he's just very gracefully moving through, not a worry in the world. And it makes me sad to think that the biggest threat to this elephant is us as humans. Which is very sad. Isn't that quite sad, David? Right. So what I'm going to do now he's disappearing. So let me quickly jump out here. I'm going to reverse. David, are you ready? I'm going to very sneakily, he's just off in the bushes. I'm going to go and stand in front of the quarry. He's just there, but he won't even know that I'm here. And you're going to take a picture. Is that long enough, David? Now he doesn't even know that I'm here. We've got the wind going down. Doubt he would have been able to have heard me walking. Not that a big elephant bull that size would be worried with a puny human like me. He wouldn't even blink his eye at me. He knows that he is the king of the savannah, and that there's very few things out here that will disturb him and bother him. Let's see if we can get one more view of this big boy, because he is going to disappear. We'll try very quickly. He's going to pop out. Come on, please walk a little bit further to that. There he comes. We'll get one last view as he moves off into the thicket and goes about his day with the sand on his back. What a lovely elephant bull. Now, if you did manage to get a screenshot and you can Photoshop me in, that'd be great. If you can't, well, it was just a fun experiment. Hashtag Safari Live with those images, and it'll just be interesting to see how much larger he is than I am. Right, we're going to keep searching. Hopefully we're going to find something else exciting this morning, but off you go back into James's car, and I hope he doesn't climb any more termite mounds or trees. I always worry about his safety.
Here we stand at Buffelshoek Dam, everyone, while you've been looking at elephants. I've been looking at hippopotami, which we'll show you shortly. And then we looked over here, to a bush which I thought for some time was in fact a domestic variety pumpkin, perhaps picked up by elephants, and I think I've actually told you that it was a domestic variety pumpkin picked up by elephants somewhere out in the communities. It is not. It is finely fruited, and that is the fruit there. That is the fruit of Laganaria spherica. Toxic fruit, and it really looks like a very sort of interesting planet, if you like. And the smell coming off it is like that of a burning clutch. It's really quite interesting. It smells like burnt clutch. And I think that's probably to put animals off eating it. And certainly I know it to be toxic. I think that perhaps squirrels can eat it, but that's about all. We know that the squirrels can handle many of the toxic cucumber species as well, and something's had a go at it there. Could easily have been a squirrel. Right, very nice. Laganaria spherica. Hippopotami. They were equally fascinated by Laganaria spherica, you can see there. They're deeply amused by the story I've just told you. I must say I'm very glad I don't have to be in the water on a day like today. It's not very warm at all. Put my little leggy blankie over my leggies again. And we were hoping there might be some other sort of predatory activity here. There hasn't been. We've had a brown snake eagle. We've had the ubiquitous Egyptian goose that's just flown through. But otherwise, a fairly sort of bland experience here, to be honest. Not much in the way of bird life. There is a hornbill flitting across. But I suppose, well, definitely this dam is going to become more and more important as we head towards the dry season, because there is quite a lot of water here, obviously. Good. Shall we continue, Viam?
Yep.
Good. On we go. Laganaria spherica. I'm glad that's not a domestic pumpkin. Oh, Michael, do you want to know what it looks like inside? Let me actually show you. You say, what does that Laganaria look like when it's opened up? Well, it just so happens that I can still find this one, and I've got my knife with me, and I will cut it open for you, Michael. There's no need for me to tell you. I will show you. And I must remember now, of course, and this is, I mean, if you have young viewers, this is very important for you to realize. Should we do this on the bonnet? It's very important for you to realize that when you pick things in the bush like this, especially if they've got a strong smell, you need to be very careful about then putting your hands anywhere near your mouth. So I need to remember as I drive around for the next 2 hours or so not to sort of scratch my mouth or my nose area, because whatever toxins there are inside this plant could easily get onto my mouth, and then I could ingest it or swallow it, and that wouldn't be very good for me. So that, Michael, is what it looks like. It looks like a squash. I suppose that's not very surprising, given that it is probably, I wonder if it must be related to squashes, especially given its growth form. Marvellous. Do you want to eat some of them? Do you want to try it? You had breakfast already. Okay, good. What I think is so interesting also, of course, is that this is one plant, or maybe 2 or 3 plants. In this area, I mean, they're probably close to, I don't know, 200 or 300 flowers maybe. Each of those flowers can produce a fruit like that, which inside it has probably around about 100 seeds. And every one of those seeds is potentially a plant like this. It just gives you an idea of how few the statistical chances of each seed actually becoming a new plant are. Alrighty, on we go. Hello D. Smithy. I'm wondering if the Lagenaria spherica is invasive. It isn't at all. No, it's not very common. I mean, it's not uncommon. It grows around here. I've just never seen a stand of it quite as big as that, but it's not invasive. It's not it's entirely indigenous and a perfectly welcome part of the ecology of the area. Good question there. I think we'll go around this way so that we can maintain some signal. And in the meantime, let's head across to Taylor. I didn't copy what she was doing before, so I'm just going to say that we're going across to her.
Right, you're back with us again, James. I hope you fend off of those gremlins and swat them with a guarri bush. No, I lie. Gremlins do not deserve a soft guarri bush. Get maybe a buffalo thorn. I think that would do them good, and then you can poke them with all the thorns there. So, just for the record, in case you're wondering how tall I am in meters. I'm 1.72. I think that's just over 6 foot, not 6 foot, no, 5'6", somewhere around there. And just for the comparison, compared to that elephant, who I reckon is easily over 4 meters, maybe even a little bit bigger than that. Like I said, he was a large elephant. So David and I have been discussing now as to what we are going to do next, because we've said we've actually had some great sightings already, even though they've just been short. We've had them, which is nice. So I thought if we maybe go and have a look at the Chitwa Dam, we'll just have to first find out if there are any guests sleeping at Chitwa, if they are sleeping in the lodge. And unfortunately we won't be able to go and park at the dam, because the dam, and we'd be looking straight onto their rooms. I don't particularly feel like seeing anybody having an outside shower. That wouldn't be too fun, or in their robes. We'll give that a skip today. So we'll go there, and then if we don't have any luck, maybe we'll zip onto Cheetah Plains and try our luck that side. Hopefully it will be, well, rewarding. Who knows? We're having a good morning already, so maybe our luck shall continue with this wind. So we're just driving around. I don't think the hyena den is going to be active today. It's too cold, a bit too miserable. I'm sure that Ribbon will have her 2 cubs cuddled up inside that burrow. Squirrels that are alarming, but they also shout for absolutely nothing, so we won't bother with them. Let's go have a look here. What are we going to see? What do you think we're going to see next? Maybe the McCurdy-Hurdy. A hyena. David thinks you're going to see a hyena next. A have no idea what we're going to see next. A bird. Crowned lapwings, where are they? Always here shouting. We'll probably see them. Or hear a monotonous laugh. Hey, hang on. Hang on. There's fresh elephant feces around here. Where have they gone though? I think they've gone into the valley. Maybe we'll quickly drive onto Rebecca's and have a quick look around there. The elephant tracks are sort of going that side. There's the McCurdy-Hurdy. Wait, let's go say good morning to them. I don't think we've seen them yet today. Hi guys! Morning everybody! They don't look very impressed. Look, and there's more of them today. We'll just park here. We'll keep our distance from them. Of course, it's a little bit windy. You can see the Impala are already starting to get a bit jumpy and move off. But there they are. Zebra, Impala, and then where's our friend the wildebeest that hangs around with them too? He hasn't got very many friends at the moment, so he's got to make do with other species. But that, of course, is exceptionally common, to have many different antelope species, zebra, wildebeest, you name it, all, well, living together. There we go. That silver cluster leaf is making for a good scratching post, isn't it? My goodness. You know what? I don't know if, David, do you think that everyone will hear the sound of the rustling of the leaves? Or was it a bit too faint? Should we give it a bash? It's actually the most lovely sound out here in Africa, is when we do have a bit of wind, is to hear the leaves. It reminds me of the ocean. So let's have a little listen. Can you hear anything, David?
Mostly the wind.
Mostly the wind. Well, to me, being a lover of water, like I said, as the wind passes through the leaves, it always reminds me of the sound of the ocean. Well, it's the closest sound that I'm going to hear, unless I pick up an empty African land snail shell and put it to my ear. Then, of course, I hear the ocean too, which is quite lovely. Of course, it's not the ocean. Isn't this fantastic? They're hiding in the silver cluster leaf forest and providing quite a bit of shelter. And I'm actually amazed to see that there's still, and every single day, it absolutely blows my mind. I'm so impressed to see that the flies, no matter what the weather, are always out. And thankfully they've given David and I a break, but they seem to be hounding the Impala as well as the zebra. They're all twitching their coats and swishing their tails quite vigorously. So we're going to keep going. I think we're going to try and head towards Chitwa Dam, but we've gone from one elephant to zebra and Impala, and it seems as though James has now found an entire herd.
We're with a herd of elephants, everybody, and they're just getting quite close to us. So we're going to be nice and quiet and just enjoy their presence. This is wonderful stuff. This little thing eating next to us. Slightly larger one coming down the road, but not a big one. Just saying hello to each other. Very close now, about 3 or 4 feet. This is very special. And they're so relaxed now, of course. Well, relatively relaxed. The temptation, of course, in a situation like this is to just focus on the animal right here in front of you, but it's very important to keep an eye on what's going on everywhere else too. And we have the whole herd just moving gently past us. And this one, I suspect, is a young bull. who was certainly playing a sort of mentorship role there, I think, with the little one, and then's decided to stay and have a conversation with us. Hello. He's very cool. Ooh, what do you think that is?
Tusk wound, maybe?
A tusk wound, yeah, a little fight. No, you said to see rogue elephants. Manu, okay, so let's just define what a rogue elephant is. A rogue elephant, Manu, would be an elephant that has displayed sort of abnormal or less than socially acceptable behavior, and one that might chase people. So rogue, the term rogue elephant is perhaps not the best, because it sort of it indicates that there is some kind of defining characteristic that makes an animal a rogue animal or a rogue elephant. But I guess by the sort of narrowest definition of the term, an elephant that by default will chase people, it's possible we can come across one, but it's very we don't come across them very often at all. I suppose the closest we could get to was that elephant that gave us a bit of trouble a while back, the one that Taylor calls Daryl. He's got a sort of bell shape cut out of his ear, and he may be described as a semi-rogue, if you like. He has spent a bit of time touching vehicles, which is not ideal. But no, Manu, I'm going to say no, we don't come across rogue elephant or any kind of rogue animal very often. I know that pole is a pain, everyone, but I can't move the car right now because he's so close to us. He's being so very kindly confiding that I really don't want to give him a fright by starting the vehicle. And William, you say, do I think he's feeding near us on purpose? The more and more time I spend with these animals, the more convinced I am that that's exactly what they're doing. I've got no doubt in my mind that he is wanting to spend time with us because I think he's bored. I think they enjoy having conversations with human beings. I just think it's fantastic. He's so close to us now. And he's not vaguely irritated by the sound of my voice. And the reason I'm not worried is because he's a youngster. He's not a big bull. And he's also not showing any signs of genuine irritation. He's very calm. Just feeding quietly. And elephants, if you've had time with them, they will always demonstrate to you, they will give you some kind of indication as to whether or not they're happy. Now he's thinking about whether he should come even closer now. He keeps twisting his trunk towards us to have a bit of a smell. And I think he's almost tempted to put his trunk onto the vehicle and just see what it smells like or what it feels like. Now we don't want to encourage that sort of thing, because it can become a problem a little bit later on when they get a little bit too comfortable. And you want them to just have a slight wariness of you, because of course they are so much bigger and stronger than us that we don't want them to be, on a bad day, on a day they feel irritated, when they would normally take their frustrations out on a tree. We don't want them to take their frustrations out on us. So we don't want to encourage them to touch the vehicles ever. That's a very interesting one, Justin. You say, what is my worst experience with an elephant? I'm trying to think about bad experiences with elephants. I You know what? I don't have one that leaps to mind. There have been a few times, certainly in the early part of my guiding career, when the elephants were just not nearly as comfortable as they are with us here. And there was a cow where I used to work up at Ngala who would just see a vehicle and come running at it. And I remember once we were driving along the road, and the tracker I used to work with, who was the most calm individual, just suddenly went pale, which is difficult for a Shangaan to do. And he said, drive. And I couldn't see anything, and he looked to his right, and then so I looked to my right, and this elephant was barreling out of the bush at us. We hadn't seen her, and she was about 10 meters away when I finally geared down and we started to pull away from her. So that was a very unpleasant experience. But you know, by and large, I really haven't had bad elephant experiences at all. That was just very, very special. Have you? Did you enjoy that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Right, I think are there a few more? I wonder if it's not worth us just perhaps staying with them, and we'll see if we can't catch them having a drink at the dam. They might go back there and do that. While we're not staying with us. Okay, so no, we're not. We're going to go across to Taylor. We'll just assess what's going on with this herd and see if they're going down to the water.
James, I'm so happy that you're having such a fantastic elephant sighting. It was sort of like my one yesterday. And I'm glad that of all the animals that normally hide away on the windy days, the Ellies are out, so that's great news for us. And I've just been seeing loads and loads of elephant footprints on tracks, but sadly, no elephants to go with those footprints. So we're still making our way down towards Chitwa. We're just going via everywhere. We're going to check Treehouse Dam, have a quick look around here, see if there's anything happening, and then we'll start going south. We'll jump back onto Gowrie Main again. Let's have a look. It's very quiet on the radio this morning as well. There's actually not much chatter. Oh, you know what? I don't even know if anybody's mentioned this to you yet, and I was supposed to do it yesterday, but I completely forgot. So a couple of my friends actually staying at Gallagher Lodge, and now they're able to traverse on Buffels Hook. And on Buffels Hook there was a female cheetah with 3 cubs. How exciting is that? And she took down a young kudu for little cubs. The cubs look little. I'm not sure how old they are. Definitely maybe about less than 6 months, so not particularly big. So that was really nice that there's a female with cubs, because the other day we were getting into a conversation talking about when last have we seen a female cheetah with cubs. Well, there we go. There's one here now, which is quite exciting. And hopefully she decides to come a little bit further west, and maybe we'll get a view of her. She's not far from the Buffels or cut line either. But there's very little here, except one Impala who's now running away. No, now I'm trying to get him in frame for David, but he keeps moving out. Hello, boy. Are you holding on to this for your territory? You can see the bigger boys, like we've been seeing at the pans, the favorable spots, starting to separate slowly. What is on his nose? He's got little white speckles. Is that hair? It looks like it is hair. Look at us, please. Impala, hello. Please turn your head and look towards me now. No, he doesn't speak English, this one. I don't know what those white things are in his face, if it's just maybe grass seeds or if it's hair that's been tainted that color. I'm not certain. But he's a big boy. He's beautiful and a little bit cold today. See, his coat is all fluffy. Not as smooth as what it normally is, but that's just to help keep him nice and warm. Look at that. Their coats are actually quite thick when you see them ruffled up like that. Normally it looks like they haven't got much hair covering their bodies. I reckon you could run your fingers through that and they'd probably get lost in this animal's hair. They're lovely. Hello, boy. You are very handsome. I can hear the monotonous larks and all the doves now. We've got 2 other birds chasing each other around. This is left.